Welcome to the Property Networking Club. I'm your host Vanish Patel, and in today's video update I'm going to talk a little bit about the current hot topic, and that is, how do you profit from property while house prices continue to fall? And what I thought I'd do today is just take a little bit of the content that we're going to be sharing at our next monthly networking event on Monday the 15th in Covent Garden, and cover one of the strategies in today's video update. Okay, now I've got 5 that I'm going to cover, but today, as I said, I'm only going to have time to cover 1. And the first topic that I'm going to talk about is really learning from history and how you can get that to adapt with your strategy. Here what I've done is I've listed some of the major websites where we can get house price data: Land Registry, Nationwide, Rightmove. All of these guys track house prices and compile the data, and you can download that data and put it into your spreadsheet and get a feel for the numbers. In the property business, you want to have an idea of not just looking at the information but analyzing it. Okay, so what I would recommend is go to some of these websites, download the data, put it into a spreadsheet, and look at those numbers. And what we want to try to do is we want to learn from history. Nothing magical is going to happen in property. You're going to see that it's going to repeat itself as it has many years. The key is for you to know those cycles, when the market changes, and how to adapt your strategy. So what I've done here is I've taken Nationwide's index, and I've put it on a nice little pretty picture based upon the average of the house prices over the last 10 years. So that's from June 98 up until June 2008. And anybody that got involved in property 10 years ago has done reasonably well. And what you'll see here is a nice upward trend, okay, and property has achieved some great improvements over the last couple of years. But you can't base your business just based upon what property has done over the last couple of years, because it will give you a false indication and a false sense of security. Okay, what you've got to remember is property is like any other asset. Okay, it increases in value and it decreases, just like stocks and shares, just like oil, commodities. They have prices and they're price driven. Okay, so what you've got to remember is this is the same index, but what I've done here is I've taken it over a much longer period, 30 years. And what you can see here is a much truer representation of what happens in property. Okay, and you know, we will find this to come true in the next couple of years, that history will repeat itself. The key is to understand the 4 phases that property goes through and how you need to adapt your strategy as we change from one phase to the other. So the first phase is what we call rapid expansion, and that's what we've been having over the last couple of years, where we've had years with double-digit growth and a continuing upward drive. Okay, now what you'll find is property will at periods grow faster than the long-term trend, and that's what has happened here in that trend. And at some point something will happen which will get it to revert back to the normal trend. Okay, and so what you'll see here is the second phase, which is the phase that we're in right now, which is rapid contraction. Okay, it's a much shorter phase. Okay, but what you're going to see is double-digit decline in house prices. Okay, and we're already experiencing that now, and certainly by the end of the year you're going to see headlines where people are going to be talking about house prices going 10-15% below their 12-month trend. Okay, what will happen is it will return to the long-term trend, and we're going to see that with our current housing market. The third phase that we're going to experience is stagnation. Okay, this is where house prices decline. Not a huge amount. They'll decline maybe 5%, 10% at most. Okay, but we're going to have maybe 2 or 3 years of that. Okay, and then we'll have the fourth phase, which is recovery. And this is where house prices will start coming back. Nothing spectacular. Again, it'll only be maybe 5-10% at that level. Okay, to recover back from the norm that we've had. Okay, now we need to understand that in each of those phases we are going to have to change our strategy. We're going to have to look at different ways of marketing as we enter each of those phases. What I think is important is that as property investors, you need to look at property and how it's behaved over the last 30 years, not what it's done over the last 2 or 3 years. Because if you base your strategy based upon what property has done over the last 5 or 6 years, you are going to find it very difficult to move forward in property. Okay, so hopefully we've covered one topic today. In our networking event on Monday the 15th, we're going to cover all the other fives, and we're going to go in for a little bit more detail. It would be great if you could join us on Monday the 15th between 6 and 10. We're going to be in the Long Acre Bar in Covent Garden. And if you want to register, just scroll down to the bottom of this page. You'll see the instructions for how to attend the event, and hopefully this has given you some insight in what you can do, and we look forward to seeing you there. This is Vanish Patel from the Property Networking Club.